Hi, everyone. So foolishly, I forgot to hit record. I was so excited to see all of you that I forgot to actually hit the record button at the start. So I'm going to go ahead and do a short video where we just go through what we just talked about in terms of the assignments in the presentation and answering your kind of questions that you had as I go through. So for those of you who weren't able to join us the first time, bear with me. So I'm going to create this video just to give you also a general idea of all of the assignments and things like that. So again, welcome back. I'm going to lay out the plan for the rest of the semester. Essentially, we've got about 6 weeks left, and we've got some key content that we still need to go over, as well as some key assignments that we've got to complete together. So what we're going to talk about today is the assignments, where to find things on Canvas, and I'll discuss some of the questions that have been brought up so far. So you'll see on Canvas that essentially all the material is unlocked. You'll see it laid out with the next 6 weeks. And the content is all on there in terms of the readings you need to do and the videos that you need to watch. And so for the next couple weeks, there are engagement quizzes that cover this key content. Myself, Professor Dugan, and Professor Craddock over at Onslow have worked together to kind of boil this down to kind of the key competencies or key area that you really need to have some familiarity with for the rest of the semester. And that's really around how to develop an intervention. You've already done how to engage communities, how to assess communities, and so now it's about developing the intervention. So the readings are designed to kind of give you background and support to help you in the development, of your intervention. So again, I'll talk about the quizzes a little bit more here on the next slide, but you'll see all the material is there on Canvas for you. So now for those of you who haven't done your photo voice presentation, those are due April 12th. They can be submitted either individually or with your partner or partners. And they should be submitted just as though you were going to do a presentation. So submit them as PowerPoint or upload the link for Prezi if you had that created to show me that we have this presentation together. This is what we would have done if class wasn't canceled. So again, you should have background information on the grand challenge, your photo of the problem, your photo of the intervention, and your discussion question. Again, if you're not able, like you haven't done this yet and you're not able to do it with your partner or partners, you can do it on your own and submit it as your own. That's just fine. Again, it would just be information on the grand challenge. You'll have your 2 photos, your discussion question, and you're good to go. The community meeting, for those of you who haven't attended one yet, we're going to be doing this virtually. So there's a link on Canvas now, so you can go and watch one of the city council meetings. If you find other meetings, I think there are some out of Jacksonville, for example. If you want to watch those because they're more interesting, more relevant to you, that's just fine. And then you're going to complete the one-page write-up as though you were doing the assignment. And the normal course of the semester, you went to the event and you did the write-up. We're keeping this assignment in part because it's good to see how a city council meeting is run, even if they're a little bit different now because of the social distancing, still getting an idea of the layout, the design, and things like that. And the ones that are being done now are particularly interesting and relevant to all of us as they are often around what we're doing in response to the coronavirus. So it'll be an interesting chance to look at how our local elected officials are addressing this issue in our community. So that will be due April 19th, should be submitted on Canvas. Your windshield assessment reflection is due April 3rd. So if you have already completed the windshield assessment, you just need to do the individual reflection write-up. That should be in your own words, and you submit that individually as your own self, right? If you have a copy of the windshield survey, you can submit that with your reflection. Or if you just have one copy per team, then just one of your teammates needs to submit that as well, and I will count it as being there. Your individual interview and reflection are due April 3rd. I know some groups have not had a chance to do this yet. If that is the case, you need to email me as soon as possible so that we can help you figure out a solution. Um, the due date on that may need to be flexible for individuals who haven't gotten that done. Um, we will figure out whether you're going to interview somebody individually on the phone, whether you can do a Skype interview with a person with your other teammates. We'll talk through that, and I will help you as much as I can to troubleshoot that. But I need you to let me know as soon as possible that's an issue you're having so that we can try to figure out a solution for you. Now, as you'll see, we've gotten rid of the kind of last two assignments, or we've changed them up. Instead of doing the team presentation and the individual assignment where you reflected on one of the grant proposals, one of the team presentations, obviously that really is impossible to do right now and really not feasible. So instead, we've created two new assignments. So one is the intervention plan, and that's due April 24th. Again, the readings will help set you up for success to do that. The idea is essentially you're going to kind of lay out the bare bones of what your intervention would look like. So for example, if I decide or I find out from doing the windshield survey and the interview that high school dropout is an issue in my community. I'm going to think about either I can decide creatively on an intervention, I can look for interventions that are out there, or if the person that I talked to and interviewed had an idea, I can also use that. So, for example, if high school dropout rate is very high in my community, I could think about looking at, again, the root causes, which you'll get to in the course materials. Well, maybe high school dropout rate is high because a lot of kids are having to start getting into the workforce to help support their families. So maybe essentially what my intervention would be to provide some kind of additional financial support or otherwise to help these kids kind of stay in school until they graduate so that they can have that high school degree. As we're seeing with the coronavirus right now, with the need for masks and things like that. So we've seen Christian from Project Runway change over his workforce to making masks. That right there is a community intervention. So again, these can be kind of creative depending on what the problem is. You can go online and find models that are out there that could be tweaked and used in our community. What we ask is that you don't use an intervention that is already here. So for example, for Northside, other areas that have a food desert, your intervention to get points can't be to create a food truck that comes and brings produce into the area and that you can use food stamps or WIC to pay for. That intervention already exists in our community through Feast Down East. So you're going to develop interventions that don't already exist in our community. And in some cases, they may be new programs. Interventions could also be in terms of organizing a community action group, in terms of developing a coalition, things like that. You know, depending on what the issue is, your intervention should make sense for helping to address that. But there are a whole range of potential interventions out there. And so as you go through the course material, you will learn more about interventions. Hopefully that'll start to give you some creative ideas. And then you can also search online and find interventions that are out there in terms of, you know, if policing, the police presence is problematic in the community, what interventions are out there to help deal with that and things like that. And you can then talk about, you know, essentially in your write up of the intervention plan, discuss how that would work in Wilmington. All right, and then your final assignment is your individual reflection video. And this will be due May 1st. And you'll see on Canvas under that assignment, it gives you a series of questions that you're going to respond to, as well as a suggested time frame for those. So essentially, you're going to put together a video of yourself responding to those questions. And this is to really give you a chance to reflect on what you've learned this semester, especially with the disruption from COVID. I think it's particularly important that we go back and think about all of the things that we've learned and done together at the beginning of the semester, how that informs what you're doing now, and how all of this together could inform your work going forward. So as you go into field next year, you will be asked to essentially create a learning plan. And some of those, or one area of that will include a macro section. So what kinds of macro activities can you do to fulfill your learning contract? All right, and so where to find things on Canvas. So all of the readings and remaining quizzes can be found on Canvas. There's one for each week, and you'll see the reading is there, as well as the TED Talks. All the links are there. As much as we love the textbook, we decided that really you probably don't have time to read all of that extra material given the current circumstances. So we have boiled it down and found websites and resources that will get you the key information you need in terms of what interventions are, how to develop an intervention once you've identified the problem, and things like that. So again, you'll see all of that information on Canvas. Now, we've provided due dates for quizzes. They'll be due each Sunday for the weeks that you do have quizzes. There aren't any for the last 2 weeks, week 5 or week 6, but we've included due dates to provide a sense of structure so that you kind of keep moving through the material each week, and so that that sets you up for success to complete your final assignments. Now, there's no time limit on the quizzes. They're really designed to give you a chance to reflect on the material. So if you want to have the quiz open as you work through the material and do them simultaneously, that's just fine. If you want to read through the material, watch the TED Talks, do the activities, and then take the quiz, that's okay too. Whatever works with your learning style is okay in this case. And the information on how to complete the intervention plan, as well as the questions for the video reflection, can be found in the directions for those 2 assignments on Canvas. I've updated the new syllabus and put that up there as well, just to give you kind of an overview on what we're doing together and things like that, as well as, you know, when assignments are due. But the material itself is all up on Canvas. So if you have any questions for the course or as you're going through it, please email me. Help me help you. If you're struggling to get something done, email me. I know that circumstances are kind of wonky right now, and some of you may be working a lot of hours. Some of you may have other responsibilities. And at times, some of the assignments may be harder to get done, whether that's a weekly quiz or one of the bigger assignments. I can't grade assignments that aren't turned in, and I can't help you if I don't know that you need support. So reach out to me so that I can help you come up with solutions. We can figure out a plan to help get you through the semester to help you complete the assignments successfully. If we need to move back due dates for you, I will move back a due date for you, help you figure that out because I want you to succeed this semester. I want you to complete all of the assignments successfully and walk away from this class feeling good about it and feeling good about what you've learned. So again, please help me help you. Talk to me about what you need and where you're struggling, and we will troubleshoot and try to come up with a solution together. All right. There will also be a discussion page on Canvas. It won't be for any points. It's just if you have any questions about the course content or things like that, you can also post there. I'll be checking that regularly. All right. I will miss seeing all of your faces this semester, but I'm excited to read your work and to see what you're learning and what you're thinking about the community and interventions. To me, I think this is one of the exciting things that we'll be doing this semester. And as we see what's happening in the global climate, really we're seeing in a lot of ways, a lot of community response and a lot of community change that's happening. We're seeing, corporations and companies that haven't been involved in healthcare necessarily. For example, our construction workers responding together and donating their equipment. We see older women's sewing groups, knitting groups, things like that, getting together to make supplies. We see things from Italy where neighborhoods are now bonding in new ways in terms of getting out on their balconies and singing together. All of this is, in a lot of ways, macro social work and macro change. And so I think keep that in mind as you read the news and as you see these stories, as we see the macro, the policy changes in response to crisis, as we see new programs being developed or expanded programs, people coming up with new and creative ways to connect. Those are all macro social work and a part of macro change. Right? That's kind of me on my soapbox for now. So again, if you have any questions, any issues that come up, reach out to me so that I can help you. Miss you all, and I'm looking forward to reading your work this semester.